Hey guys, Welsknight here, and welcome back to another episode of Pixelmon from the PocketPixels server. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'm having a fantastic day. Reminder, this series is sponsored by PocketPixels, and as always, we're starting off in the hub, play.pocketpixels.net. You can find instructions to get on the server in the description below, and we'll just pop on to the yellow server where we belong. Now, it is Easter week. It was just Easter this last Sunday. Did that make a sound? Is my volume just super low? Oh, okay. Yeah, the volume on my speakers was turned down way farther than normal, so I was like, wait, what's going on? Anyway, I digress. So yeah, it was Easter this last Sunday, and also April Fool's, and there's an Easter event going on the server that I want to check out. So if you go warp Easter, I'm not sure exactly when this ends. I think it's just for this week. So by the time you see this video, it might actually already be over. But it's just an example of the events that happen on the server. If you pop over here, it's essentially an Easter egg hunt. Welcome to Yellow's Easter. There are 25 Easter eggs to be found, 10 Master Balls, 5 Ultra Balls, 10 Pokeballs, and then there's an Easter-themed gym. And the first one is right here, and we got a head. And I also found one already. There was one right here, but I already claimed that one. We'll get that one too. So we still have, I don't know if I'm gonna find, you know what I should do, actually? Hold on. Let's warp home, since I'm sure this area is protected. Let me just throw that stuff. In fact, let's just throw all of this stuff into the chest, so that we know, or the shulker, I guess, so that we know how many we've found. Warp Easter. Here we go. Okay, so we have found 3 so far. These fragments are used essentially to summon Pokemon. If you get 10 fragments of X Pokemon, you can summon that Pokemon. So if you get like 10 fragments of Chansey, we can summon a Chansey, which is pretty cool. Let's keep looking around. Ooh. I mean, I still can fly, so we may take advantage of that, but I kind of want to do this. You know what? Let's do this. What is it? Fly false? Let's do this all natural, so to speak. I'm assuming they're all going to be kind of hidden in, like, semi-obvious places? Maybe? I'm imagining some of this is going to be, like, up in the air as well. Like, you have to do, like, a little fancy parkour to get to it. Although, parkour is really not my strong point. Oh, there's one! I see one! Haha! There we go. What did we get? Another fragment of Chansey. So maybe the regular Pokeballs are all Chansey fragments, perhaps? It's possible. They said there was 10 Master Balls, and when it says Master Balls, it's not referring to like actual Master Balls. It's referring to the icon that appears in the world. It's like Master Ball loot. I'm already missing my ability to fly, so I can look on top of a lot of these. But we're just kind of looking around. I don't know. I'm sure they're all over the place here. Deuce. Oh! Found one. We got another head. So I don't know if the heads are... Well, I can't place them down here, because again, this is an area that I'm sure is admin protected. The flower forests are also making it rather difficult to see, but that's fine. You know what? Let's do this. Fly. We can fly now. And let's just look around on these flowers and trees and stuff like that. Yeah, see? I was gonna say, I bet there's some of them that are like way up in the air. Or on top of builds or stuff like that. Like this, for example, I'll bet you just about anything. If you were to parkour your way up all of this, which I assure you, you do not want to see me attempt to do that on camera. We'll be here for days. I'll bet... Oh, there are barrier blocks. Okay, how does one get over there? I mean, I can see the ball. How does one get to the ball? I don't know. Maybe you have to keep going up here, perhaps? There's bees, though. The bees are really cool. This is such a, like... Obviously, the server has a build team. I'm sure this isn't just, like, random people doing the... Like, I'm sure they have a build team that they make use of. But this is, like, a really cool build. I like it a lot. Are there any eggs, like, way up in the canopy? Doesn't look like it. Looks like this is probably the top. You got the beehive hanging from the tree. Is there another way into the beehive? Other than right here? That's what I need to know. I don't see another way in. Down below, perhaps? No. Oh, there's one we haven't found, though. Oh, and then this is a Metapod. Oh, that's really cool. There's just... I could be very sidetracked and... Oh, Master Ball. Hi. Another head. I don't know who these heads belong to. I'm assuming that they belong to either, like, members of the server's, you know, like, staff, or maybe members of the build team or something like that. I'm not really sure. Who knows? Or maybe it's just, like, popular people. Maybe I'll find my own head. That'd be kind of cool. I'm really curious how in the world you're supposed to get into this hive, though. Because we found the, we found this entrance right here. But then the thing is, it's all barrier blocked off, as far as I can tell. So there's no actual way over there. Unless I'm missing something. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, I don't want to spend forever, looking for stuff. What is this? Something playing a flute? Is it a Pokemon of some sort, or is it just a... I think it's just a whatchamacallit, a mythical creature playing a flute. A pan? Is that the... What's Mr. Tumnus in the Chronicles of Narnia? That's what it is. Pretty sure. Anyway, so yeah, I don't want to spend forever, looking for eggs over here, but I just wanted to show you that this was here and a cool example of an event that's going on the server. And they do this sort of... I've been on the server for a grand total now of what, like 5 weeks, and there's already been several different events kind of like this. So it appears, at least to me, that they do this sort of a thing fairly regularly. But anyway, I'm going to head back home. A lot of you have requested a guide on breeding in Pixelmon, so I think I will do that for you, because there's a lot of people who have been asking questions, and breeding is generally a fairly large focus of all of my Pixelmon series, so let's jump into that. So let's talk breeding. Breeding in Pixelmon is incredibly similar to breeding in Pokemon. So basically, almost everything that you do here to breed in Pixelmon and on a Pixelmon server or in a Pixelmon single-player world, it's almost identical to what you would do in an actual Pokemon game, like Pokemon Sword and Shield, for example. The only real difference is that in Pokemon Sword and Shield, or any of the actual Pokemon games, you have a daycare, and you go to the daycare, you leave the Pokemon you want to breed with the daycare lady, and then you come back later and there's an egg. In Pixelmon, you make, or in the case of this server, purchase from the in-game shop, not the real money shop, but the player economy shop, ranch blocks, which are these things right here, and you put Pokemon into the ranch blocks and they will breed. So in theory, in Pixelmon, you can breed, infinity Pokemon at once. Although most servers will have a limit. This server, for example, has a limit of 8 Pokemon breeding at any given time. Or 8 pairs of Pokemon breeding at any given time, I should say. So, what can you breed? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You can breed male and female, this one's male, and female Pokemon. of the same egg group. Every Pokemon is assigned 1 or 2 egg groups, and those egg groups are basically groups of similar Pokemon. So, like, as an example, Snivy is in the grass egg group, or Lopunny here is in the field and human-like egg groups. And therefore, Lopunny could breed with any other Pokemon in the field and human-like egg group. So any 2 Pokemon that are in the same egg group can breed. I'm not going to go over what every Pokemon is in. Google it. Google is your friend. Just, if you're curious about a Pokemon, look it up on Cerebi or PokemonDB.net or Bulbapedia or any of those sorts of websites, and it'll tell you what egg group the Pokemon belongs to. So, male and female of the same egg group, or any Pokemon can breed with a Ditto. There is one exception to all of that, however, and that is the Undiscovered Egg Group. Undiscovered Egg Group Pokemon cannot breed. That egg group is mostly legendary and mythical Pokemon. There are a couple weird exceptions, like for some reason, Nidoqueen is Undiscovered Egg Group. Female Nidoran is not, but Nidoqueen is, which is kind of weird. But for the most part, Undiscovered Egg Group is mythical and legendary Pokemon, and they just can't breed. Some Pokemon, i.e. Metagross, for example, are genderless. They are neither male nor female, and they can only breed with Ditto. You can't breed a Metagross and a Metagross. A Metagross has to breed with Ditto, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Genderless Pokemon are a massive pain to breed, because it's usually pretty hard to get a good Ditto to breed with. As for what can be passed down to the baby Pokemon, obviously the Pokemon can be passed down. Like, the whole point of breeding Eevees, for example, is so that you can get more Eevees. It would be pretty weird if you were trying to breed Eevee and, you did so by not breeding an Eevee as one of the parents. That'd be kind of weird. But anyway, you get the Pokemon. You can pass down nature, i.e. this Eevee right here, for example, is right here, a timid nature. You can pass down the nature. You can pass down ability, including hidden abilities. You can pass down IVs, and we will cover IVs more in depth in just a moment. You can pass down moves, and you can pass down the Pokeball, which is one that some people might not know. If you have, for example, Riolu, which is a happiness evolution. It evolves by having high happiness. If you catch a Riolu in a luxury ball, you can make sure that every baby will be in a luxury ball automatically, which I believe is exactly what I did for these Pokemon. If I just grab you out, yeah, this guy is in a luxury ball. So it has its uses. Certain things will be passed down by certain parents. So, like, for example, the baby will always be whatever the female Pokemon is. The ability will always come from the mother. The Pokeball will always come from the mother. Egg moves and TM moves will always come from the father. We'll get into more specific details on them in a moment. So first, let's talk about IVs, because this is the part that trips the vast majority of people up. Okay? Every Pokemon has hidden stats called individual values, or IVs for short. If we look at this Talonflame, for example, IVs 1, you can see it has 30, 0, 22, 10, 23, and 21. These numbers range from 0 to 31, with 31 being the best and 0 being the worst. And every Pokemon will have an IV from 0 to 31 for every stat. HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. Okay? Those IVs can be passed down to children. So, the goal of competitive breeding, at least, is to get babies that have perfect IVs in every stat that actually matters. Now, because most Pokemon are not both physical and special attackers, generally, I'd say like 99% of the time, you will have all stats, your goal when breeding is to have all stats perfect except for whichever attacking stat they don't use. So for example, Ralts is a special attacker, or a Gardevoir is a special attacker, therefore you don't care about its attack stat, because it's never going to use its attack stat. Lopunny, on the other hand, is a physical attacker, so you don't care about its special attack stat, because it's never going to use its special attack stat. So that's generally the total goal. Now, the way that it actually works is if you have two parents, and if we look at these two, right? Actually, that's not a good example. Let's use these two right here, okay? So this Meowth has perfect stats in everything except for defense. That's what the 0 represents. And this Eevee is actually perfect in every single stat, which is a very low chance that that can happen. So usually you're not actually attempting to breed for that, but sometimes it just happens and you're happy about it. By default, the baby Pokemon is going to inherit 3 random IVs from the combined pool of its parents' IVs. So what do I mean by that? Well, first, the game is basically going to roll a dice, and it's going to decide what 3 stats am I going to inherit. Am I going to inherit HP, attack, and defense? Am I going to inherit HP, special attack, and speed? Am I going to inherit attack, special defense, and speed? Etc., etc. It's basically going to roll a dice and decide what 3 stats it will actually inherit. Then, after it chooses what 3 stats are going to inherit, it's essentially going to roll another dice for each one of those 2 stats, or flip a coin, if you will, and randomly decide whether it will inherit that stat from the mother or from the father. So, say it decided to do HP, attack, and defense, it might decide to inherit HP from the Meowth, attack from the Eevee, and defense from the Meowth. Or it might decide to do HP from the Meowth, attack from the Meowth, and defense from the Meowth. It might just decide it's all going to come from the Meowth. Or maybe it would all come from the Eevee, or whatever. You as the player really have no control over which ones it randomly picks, but you can kind of slowly breed the Pokemon up and have higher and higher chances of getting what you want. If one of the 2 parents is holding a Destiny Knot, like the Eevee here, instead of doing 3 random stats, it will do 5 random stats instead. It doesn't matter which parent holds the Destiny Knot, because again, it's not inheriting the stats specifically from one parent. It's saying, hey, I'm going to take these random stats, and then I'm going to flip a coin for each one of them and randomly decide whether it's coming from the mom or the dad. So it doesn't matter which parent holds the Destiny Knot, it makes no difference. The Destiny Knot is either in effect or it is not. It will either inherit 5 IVs with a Destiny Knot or 3 IVs without. Generally, the best setup is going to be to have an Everstone on one parent, which will guarantee that the baby will have the nature you want, and then a Destiny Knot on the other. So if you look at all these, there's basically, Everstones, Destiny Knots. Everstones, Destiny Knots. I generally like to put my Everstone on the mom and my Destiny Knot on the dad, but it really doesn't matter. And if you're breeding, if you're just starting a new breeding project, like for example, I'm breeding Clamperl here. If you were to start, my first Clamperl was a male with a jolly nature, so I ended up breeding it with this Ditto right here to give it a timid nature by making the Ditto hold an Everstone. So that's essentially what you can do. Now, there is a way to get a very specific stat from one of the parents passed down, and that is through the use of power items right here. So power belt, power anklet, power lens, power bracer, power band, and power weight. Each one of these corresponds to a specific stat. Power weight is HP, power lens is special attack, etc. I'm not going to go through them all. You'll probably have to Google them to remember anyway, but each one of these corresponds to a specific stat. If one of the parents is holding one of these power items, it will guarantee that that stat will come from that parent. So if my Eevee that had perfect stats holds a Power weight, which is for HP, it is guaranteed to have the same HP as the Eevee. However, the downside to this is that it means one of the parents can't hold two items at the same time. One needs to hold an Everstone, and one needs to hold an Eevee or an Ivy passing item. So generally, you only want to use these very early in the breeding process before you have enough IVs to make a Destiny not worth it. Okay, so that is IVs in a nutshell. Now, let's talk about the actual probabilities and statistics of things happening. So first of all, Ditto is kind of a weird exception to the rules. Ditto always counts as the mother. Or, I'm sorry, Ditto always counts as the father, no matter what. So if you breed a male Pokemon with the Ditto, the male Pokemon is considered the mother, and the Ditto is considered the father. So Ditto's kind of a weird exception to the rule, but for the most, so just keep that in mind. But to get the right nature, you want a parent holding an Everstone who already has that nature. If you have a Jolly Pokemon hold an Everstone while it's breeding, the baby will be Jolly. If you do not do that, if you don't use an Everstone at all, the baby will have a random nature, and there are, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, there's just 25 different natures in the game. So you've basically got a 1 in 25 chance. That's a 4% chance of getting the nature you want. Use an Everstone. It's way better. It's way easier. The ability of the baby Pokemon is always going to come from the mother. You can't pass down an ability from the father. And the way that it works is if the mother does not have a hidden ability, like for example, this is a Trace Ralts. Trace is not a hidden ability. It's one of the 2 standard abilities on Ralts. That means that there would be an 80% chance that the baby will inherit Trace, and a 20% chance that it would get Synchronize, which is the other ability, the other standard ability that Ralts can have. Okay? If it is a hidden ability, like with, well, actually, that's not a Protean Froakie. Here we go. This is a Regenerator Toxapex. If this was a mother, this is a male Toxapex, but if this was female and I was attempting to breed Regenerator Toxapex, hidden abilities have a 60% chance to be passed down, and essentially a 40% chance that it will be one of the two, that it will be the standard ability instead. So 60% chance to pass down a hidden ability, 80% chance to pass down a standard ability. If you are breeding 2 Pokemon who have a standard ability, there is a 0% chance that the baby will get a hidden ability. You cannot just magically get a hidden ability if the mother doesn't already have it. IVs, we've already kind of talked about. You can also pass down moves via breeding, and there's an order of precedence that it follows. So let's look at, for example, not this Reuniclus. Just kidding. Let's look at this Reuniclus. Here we go. So Acid Armor is an egg move. This is a move that it cannot learn via TM or TR or HM or Move Tutor or whatever. It can't learn via any of those methods. It also does not learn it via level up. It can, however, get Acid Armor by breeding with another Pokemon in the same egg group that gets these moves. Every Pokemon, for the most part, will have a handful of egg moves that it can learn. You'll have to Google them for the individual Pokemon, but egg moves will be the first type of move that the baby will attempt to inherit. If one of the parents has an egg move, the baby will get it. Next, after egg moves, are TM and HM moves. If the father knows TM or HM moves, the baby will attempt to inherit those after it attempts to inherit any egg moves. Lastly, after TMs and TRs that it tries to get from the father, it will then try to learn any level up moves that are known by both of the parents. So the order goes egg moves first, then TM moves, then level up moves that both parents know. So egg moves from either parent, TM moves from the dad, level up moves from both. Lastly, Pokemon, the Pokeball will always be the same as the mother. Again, this is useful for certain types of Pokemon, like if you're breeding a Pokemon that evolves through happiness, and, you can breed it into a luxury ball, makes it a little easier to raise. That will always come from the mother, and that's the one weird one where Ditto does not actually count as the father in that case. If you breed a Pokemon with a Ditto, and for the Pokeball will be the same as the Ditto. If you're breeding like a male something with a Ditto, it's going to have the Ditto's Pokeball instead of the other one. And that's basically the gist of breeding of breeding as far as Pokemon goes. Now, the last weird thing, this is specific only to Pixelmon, and that is breeding environment. So I mentioned earlier that you breed by putting Pokemon into these ranch blocks. If you hover your mouse, your cursor or whatever, over one of these ranch blocks, you can see these little squares that light up on the ground. That is essentially the range of the ranch block. And every block every top block within that range is considered part of the breeding environment. And the default range is 9x9, but it can be upgraded with ranch upgrades. That's what I've done over here. That's why this room is much, much larger. This range goes all the way over much farther than 9x9. And basically, blocks within that range will each give a point value towards the environment value or whatever. So those blocks range in value from 0 to 3, and they essentially determine at the end, however many points you have will determine how fast the baby will breed, or maybe not at all. So you need at least 35 points for a Pokemon to breed, period. If you don't have 35 points, they won't breed at all. If you want to get the maximum speed for breeding, you need 140 points. And the point values vary depending on the block and depending on the type of Pokemon. So you'll have to look it up to see what's good for what. But like as an example, Quartz is really good for Psychic types. It gives them 3 points. So if you have enough Quartz blocks within the range, you can make Psychic Pokemon breed very quickly. Dual-type Pokemon, such as Ralts, for example, which is Fairy Psychic, will only get half the value of any given block. So instead of getting 3 points for each Quartz block, it's getting 1.5 points for each Quartz block. But if you add all of these up, it still equals to over 140, so they're still breeding at the maximum possible speed. Once again, I strongly recommend you look up a guide for breeding environment in Pixelmon, and honestly, just for breeding in general, like a proper written one that you can reference and look at, because it's fairly complex. It's a lot of stuff to memorize, and it'll also give you a more detailed explanation of how it all works. But yeah, that's basically breeding in a nutshell. That's the short version. I could go much more in depth, but, we probably don't want to be here all day. Also, even that relatively short explanation was still like 20 minutes long. But that's fine because I'm still preparing for the Little Cup tournament. It's going to be the day after this video is posted. So you'll see the Little Cup tournament that's coming up in the next episode. I'll show it a week after it actually happens, just kind of because of the way the release schedule for this series is. But yeah, I'm super excited. We're getting there. I'm close. I only have a couple more Pokemon I actually need to breed for it. Then I can start working on the Fire-type gym. Hope you enjoyed the explanation of breeding. We should probably take a quick peek at Welshurst and just see how it compares. See if anything new has popped up. There's people have been leaving me mail and stuff as well. But yeah, I mean, the town is still going well. It's still thriving. We don't have a ton of people on right now, but also it's really late when I'm actually recording this. So it's not exactly peak hours. It may or may not be like 2 in the morning right now. But anyway, yeah, Welshurst is still growing. We still got a very active community here. Things are starting to expand and pick up. We got the roads kind of all in place. Everything's looking good. We're all having a blast. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. Breeding guide took a little bit longer than I would have maybe liked as far as percentage of the video, but a lot of people were asking for an explanation of how breeding works in Pixelmon. So I figured, you know what? Why not? Anyway, my friends, that's going to do it for today. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Links in the description below, so check that out as well. Otherwise, my friends, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.